The Creation Workshop, Chapter 1. The ground beneath his feet was paved with rusted sheet metal, as if extracted from an old mine, soaked in water for years. Every step echoed with a dull resonance carried deep into the iron below, as if the very earth were collapsing inward with each footfall. These echoes didn't vanish into emptiness. Instead they returned, striking Kazum's eardrums, pressing inward with a strange pressure. The character of the sound shifted, sometimes like a hammer testing the lid of a buried coffin, sometimes like the groan of interlocked beams. All these sounds felt familiar yet alien to Kazum, like those heard in dreams and forgotten upon waking, but forever lodged in the soul's corners. Kazum was a labourer working in one of Zonguldak's oldest coal mines during the bitter winter months of 1930. That morning, during a shift change, a tremor shook the tunnel. The ceiling cracked, and the support beams above the coal seam gave way. While everyone else fled, Kazum hesitated, turning briefly to look at his friends running behind him. In that instant, the ground beneath him collapsed, dragging him into darkness. His last memory before losing consciousness was a sharp smell of dust, a burning heat in his throat, and a low-pitched hum rising from deep below. When he opened his eyes again, the place he found himself in was neither part of the mine nor the surface world. It could hardly be called a corridor, for his sense of direction had vanished. The path he walked was straight, yet endless. The walls were lined with iron plates, scabbed over in places. Each plate bore numbers, letters, engraved markings, but none of them seemed to belong to any known language. Fluorescent lights were spaced along the high ceiling, one every metre, casting a dirty yellow glow. This light did not banish shadows, it sharpened them, made them harsher. As Kazum's eyes adjusted to this strange world, he noticed the shadows moving. At first he thought they were people, but as he approached, the details disturbed his mind. They were not human. They were puppets, but not the kind found on theatre stages. Their sizes varied. Some were the height of a 6-year-old child, while others towered nearly 5 meters, brushing against the ceiling. All their bodies were made from mahogany, dark brown varnish glimmering unevenly under the light. Their joints creaked like wet sawdust scraping against metal as they moved, and each puppet carried a scent as it walked. As the first puppet passed, a scent of coal dust and old burlap struck Kazum's nose, the same scent his father used to carry home after a shift. The second one brought a whiff of lemon cologne and a hint of mint, exactly like the cologne his mother wore on her deathbed. Each puppet walked with a scent, and each scent pulled a memory from Kazum's mind. They walked not just with their bodies, but with his past. Kazum walked on, trying to understand. With every step, a new puppet, a new scent, a new memory emerged. One brought the smell of roasted chestnuts by a stove, another the sharp ink scent of an opened bottle at school. Then came a puppet exuding mould and tobacco from a yellowed, long-forgotten book. At one point, Kazum froze. Before him, elevated on a platform, stood a figure distinct from the others. The puppet master. This being resembled nothing he had ever seen. Its body mimicked a human's, but the proportions were wrong. A huge head sat on broad shoulders. It had no eyes, just 2 hollow sockets filled with black soot. Its arms were a fusion of mahogany and metal. In one hand it held a rusty plier, in the other a fine-toothed saw. The puppet master had laid a puppet before him and was disassembling its joints while muttering strange sounds. They resembled whispers, perhaps even prayers, but neither the language nor the rhythm was human. The puppet squirmed, but not out of fear, more out of helplessness, like the surrender in the eyes of a wounded animal. Kazum couldn't watch for long. He felt sick. A new scent had arrived, a blend of sawdust and blood. The puppets weren't empty. Some contained rotting flesh, even vein-like fibres. The puppet master tore them apart, left them wounded, then sent them away. These damaged puppets rejoined the assembly line, continuing to walk with missing limbs and broken rhythms. Some hopped, some staggered, some spun endlessly in place. Kazum searched for direction in this endless expanse, but there were no openings to the left or right of the corridor. Looking back, the path was the same. Looking forward, the same again. Everywhere was filled with puppets moving in that same mechanical rhythm. Still, he kept walking, dragging his memories along. Eventually, a hidden door appeared on the left wall. On it, embossed in strange lettering, were the words, for those who remember. When Kazum tried to approach, the puppet master let out a shriek. It was metallic, guttural, and echoed across the entire production floor. In that moment, all puppets froze. As if receiving a command, they all turned their heads toward Kazum. And Kazum, for the first time, understood. These puppets weren't merely remnants of failed creations. Each one was a manifestation of fragments from his past. They were replicas of forgotten memories. The puppet master was the executioner who processed, altered, broke, and reshaped those memories. And the door. Perhaps it was an exit, or perhaps it led to a deeper remembering. But Kazum couldn't step forward. His feet had taken root. One puppet approached him. It looked more like a child than the others. Its tiny hands reached out and touched Kazum's hand. A scent of resin and old leather spread from its fingers. It was his favorite notebook from childhood, the one his mother gave him with the words, "Write your story." But Kazum had never written it. Now that notebook had become a puppet, and though it had no eyes, it was staring into Kazum's soul. He fell to his knees. Above, the puppet master raised its arms and began swaying slowly, rhythmically. The puppets gathered around him. Kazum was surrounded by memories, each one a wound, each one a missing piece. And in that moment, Kazum understood. This workshop wasn't a place of creation, it was a place of punishment. An infinite corridor where those who remember fall, and what they forget takes shape. The puppet master began to laugh. The fluorescent lights never went out, the smells never faded, time still did not flow. But Kazum now felt like just another puppet.
Konuşma açık. Ekran kaydı sürüyor. 529. Düğme. Durum. Yönetim merkezi. Uçak modu. Anahtar. Sayaç. Düğme. Daha fazla. Kamera. İşitmeci. Seçilen. Seçilen. Ekran kaydı. Düğme.